everyone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the UBV Presents the Black Notes. I'm Leon Mallet with my two organizers in arms, Mr. Avi Hodges and
What up,
Mr.
though?
Clay. Now,
Okay.
today's notes, we are going to be discussing the app Klarna. Klarna is a payment plan option similar to layaway, which allows you to buy now and pay later. It's set up to where you can make purchases and pay later in 4 equal installments at no interest, or it also gives you the option to extend the payments out further for interest rates that can go as high as 34% APR. Now, what APR is, it stands for annual percentage rate, and it includes not only the interest that you're being charged, but also fees on top of that and any other costs associated with the loan. DoorDash just recently announced that they will start accepting Klarna for food delivery. So, guys, my question to you is, how do you feel Klarna and similar buy now, pay later lender options will affect the Black community moving forward?
Man, bro, let me take this one first, man. Fast food loans, like, bro, I still can't believe this is about to be a real thing, bro. Fast food loans.
Yeah.
And you know what the funny part about it, bro? Like, it's death by a thousand cuts, man. Think about it, bro. You literally can order a burrito and break that thing down to $2.75 payments. Like, insane. And the sad part about it is, bro, you literally can have one of those show up on your collection account. So if you don't pay your bill on time, right? And that will show up on your collection accounts, which could prevent you from buying a house just because you didn't pay that burrito back, right? So I just think, man, it's about to be disastrous, man. You got people out here like literally buying impulse because that's what you're buying. You're not buying the burrito, you're buying impulse and convenience. And we know impulse and convenience always cost you more. Think about it, bro. I went to 7-Eleven today and talk about inconveniences, right? But I went to 7-Eleven and I just wanted to get like something to drink real quick, a Gatorade. Now, mind you, I can go to Costco and get a Gatorade or get like a whole pack of Gatorade for, let's say, $10. But I went to 7-Eleven and I paid almost $3 or $4 for the same Gatorade. Now, you tell me, it was convenient. It was right down the street. It was right there. But I could have went to Costco and I could have saved some money. So at the end of the day, I look at this thing as a fast food loan for the impulsive people who, they just want a Taco Bell in the middle of the night. But it ain't gonna be worth it, bro.
Yeah. No, one thing I would add on to that is I actually think it's the third option. Like what I mean by that is like first part is like, hey, you ain't got the cash, boom, you go to your credit card. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no credit card, buy now, pay never. You know what I'm saying? So I think, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's
Buy now, pay later.
Yeah,
Pay never. You said never?
Buy now, pay never. And let's be honest, man. You know what this is gonna make sure of, man? It's gonna make sure, you know what I'm saying, your little niece got one hell of a birthday party. That's how they really gonna use it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're gonna go to Chipotle, get $600 of food. And people gonna have some hella birthday parties, man. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a lot of trips to Miami, a lot of trips to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? You're like, how this broke motherfucker get up in here, man? Buy now, pay later.
Buy now, pay never.
Buy now, pay never.
Pay never. You ain't never paying that back.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. This whole dude will be stunting. Dude will go stunting in Vegas, bro. The hotel, the plane, the food, ain't even paid yet. You know what I'm saying? The whole drip. I think that's how it's going to really be used, and I think it's just going to be a third option. You don't have the cash. Okay, you don't have a credit card. Your credit cards, you can't get credit. Okay, cool. And then now you just buy now, pay later. I think it's the third option. And then people are just going to use it to live it up.
Well, I definitely agree with that. But with that being said, I still think it's a detrimental trap that's on its way. And I know it's 4 installments with no interest, but let's be honest, Klarna's getting ready to do an IPO and go public. They're not in business because people are paying these off before that 4 installments so they don't have to pay any interest. The way they're making their money is people are not meeting those 4 installments and they're getting taxed at 34% or higher APRs. So for me, I think, especially like you just said, Ivory, with our propensity in this consumer-based society to look for convenience, I think people are going to try to utilize it, and I think it's going to bite a lot of people on the backside. Just like a casino, at the end of the day, like I was saying, these 4 installment payments, that's what they're going to push everybody. Pay in 4 installments, no interest. You don't have to worry about it, free. But like I said, Klarna is about to go public. not because people are paying these, not because the majority of these people are paying them off in those 4 installments before the interest hits, but because people are not, and then they're getting taxed on the back end at 34% and or higher interest rates.
Yeah, yeah. What I'm seeing is that like that buy now is the impulsive part, but the pay later, that's like, hey, man, don't worry about it. Just figure it out later. And I think that's the trap of it because, I don't know if about you guys, but a lot of times I've seen growing up, people will always do something now. Like they would have a lady or whatever, and they thinking about that night at the club. You just
Yeah,
thinking about that night, but you're not thinking about the later. The later could be a
yeah,
STI. It could be a baby. It could be anything, right? You're not thinking about that. We're just thinking about that here and now moment. It's a primal instinct in all of us. And I feel like that's the same thing that's going to happen with this buy now, pay later thing. But the later part, you bet not miss that interest rate. I'm telling you, you watching this, if you use Klarna or this little whole DoorDash thing, you better not miss that last interest payment because I'm telling you that last payment, 34 interest, it's gonna be on you, bro. Or sis.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I'll say, I know I'm joking about, I joke about going to Vegas and all that other stuff, right? But in reality, a lot of people are going to use it to survive. They're going to use it to buy groceries, get food, things like that. And we make joke about it, but the one thing I don't want to do is get into stereotypes. Let's be honest. I know I talked about not having enough cash, not having a credit card. These are all things that are happening because let's face it, instead of actually solving the wage gap, the wage issues, actually solving the fact that things are just so expensive, especially to what people make, people are just they just giving you more options to finance it later. That's all that's happening. So really, it's a failure of the economy, failure of the market, and people are forced to keep finding different ways to just finance their day-to-day needs. And I think that's really the biggest problem. It's a failure of the economy. And instead of actually offering real solutions, we're just gonna keep hitting you with debt.
I kind of agree with that in a sense. But for me, man, I think it's not necessarily just that where it's going to be people are doing it for their day-to-day needs. I think the problem is going to come in where people are doing it for the convenience and the consumer aspect of it. Yeah, you can kind of budget out your monthly budget, I guess, in the sense, and okay, well, maybe I do need to get some extra groceries this week and I just don't have the money, but I know I'll get paid in 2 weeks and I can kind of measure, I know my budget is. The biggest effect that I think is going to have is on those people who are too lazy to get up and drive to Taco Bell,
Yeah.
or who are too lazy to get up and drive to Jack in the Box or whatever it may be, just to be able to go save some money and get a meal. And I
Uh-huh.
think that's the people that's really going to hit the hardest. Because, like I said, let's be honest, convenience is not a necessity. It's convenience. It's something
Mm-mm.
that, hey, I want to take this on because it makes things a little bit easier for me in some form or fashion, but it's not a necessity. And
No.
that's the big issue that I think is going to get taken on is we're in a very high consumer based, society where everybody's image conscious and or looking for the quickest way to get something done. And those are the people that are going to get bit the most out of this. I don't think, I think obviously some people who are using it to get their necessities may potentially fall into that. But I think more in the sense of it, they're gonna be able to budget out. Hey, I'm gonna get paid, and I just need extra $100 for some groceries that I'll be able to take care of. But those people who are spending money that they don't need to, I think is gonna
Mm-hmm.
have the biggest impact.
No, I agree.
So, but tell us what you think. So if you can, comment below on what your thoughts on are for the pay now or sorry, buy now, pay later model that
Hey,
Klarna and a
never.
lot of other lenders are taking on here, moving forward with consumer goods.